Hey guys, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, it's not necessarily the happiest video, but I don't want to lie to you guys. I don't want to keep anything from you, so I'm going to tell you what exactly has happened in the last week. So, as I'm sure you all know, Bree, my African soft-furred rat that I rescued from my work about 2 months ago now, she unfortunately in the last week or so took a turn for the worst and she passed away on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to get upset in this video. I'll do my best because I want to give you the facts. So basically, when I first found her, I think as I said in a previous video, she was very, very small. She would for what's the adult weight of an African soft-furred rat, she was probably half that. So I just assumed she was a young rat, a young mouse. Technically they're a mouse, which is why I got her two fancy mice companions, because the younger you bond them, the more likely it is to work. Anyway, that's for a different video. I've already done a video on this. Getting sidetracked, sorry. Over sort of the time I've had her, she hasn't really gained weight, and it was only in the last week or two. I think it was 2 weeks. It was the weekend before last. I just had a nagging feeling something was wrong. When you just have a feeling that something isn't right and it just eats at you. So eventually I sort of dug her out of her little hide, because she's very secretive. I almost never see her. I'd almost never seen her prior to this point because she's always hiding. But I put that down to, finding her. She's probably a bit more wild than the other mice. And she was quite skinny. She was very skinny. She was a lot skinnier than she was when I first found her. So I was like, okay, I'm separating them now. I assumed the other two were bullying her because, by this point, the time they'd been together, my two fancy mice have doubled her size. And they all started off at the same size. They're growing quickly, like you would expect mice to. Bree she's literally not changed. She had lost weight. She'd gotten so much skinnier. So I decided to separate them and just see if it was maybe they were bullying her away from food. What was wrong with her. She's always been a very quiet mouse, so I thought maybe she was being out-competed. My other two girls, they were always up and about during the day. They would be nibbling food on and off throughout the day. Bree never came out unless it was dark and nighttime, pitch black. And that was it, really. You'd see her if you went and turned the light on, but other than that, she never came out. So I just assumed she was being out-competed for food. So I separated them, but even separated, she was very, very lethargic. And I think it was the Sunday evening, she was literally trembling. She had a wobbly stance when she walked. She was extremely skinny by this point. She wasn't eating, she wasn't drinking. She was so wobbly. I was giving her sugar in the form of honey to try and just with a syringe. I was just kind of handling her. And the fact I knew there was something seriously wrong was when I was able to handle her completely fine. Before now, she would have tried biting me or anything. She wasn't tame. But I was syringe feeding her Sunday evening, not this Sunday that just passed, the Sunday before that. So a week and a half ago, I was syringe feeding her honey just to try and get something in her system, because she was just so wobbly and so low on sugar and energy and everything. And it did seem to perk her up a little bit, but come sort of Monday morning, she was her breathing was very rapid. She was just sort of sitting really hunched over this almost. This was her back. I don't have any pictures of this because, I don't know, when I'm panicking about my pets, I don't really stop to think about pictures. I really wish I'd documented it to a degree now, but I didn't think to take photos. I might have some pictures of when she was at the vet's, just so you can see how skinny she was. But come Monday morning, I thought she was going to die. She looked horrible. And I took her to the vet on Monday afternoon, about 2:30 or 3, I think it was. And she perked up a little bit at the vet's, actually. She was running around, on her hand. Her eyes looked clear. The vet said she had a really good heart rate. Obviously for a mouse. She was 9 grams at the vet's. That's how much weight she had lost. She was 20 grams when I found her. She was 9 grams at the vet's. That's a phenomenal amount of weight loss for a mouse. And no, the vet was listening to her chest because she thought it might have been a respiratory infection. I've heard they are quite common in mice. I'm terrified of my other 2 mice getting one. But she sounded really clear. She sounded good. She sounded healthy. She said it wasn't wet tail. She honestly wasn't sure what was wrong, but she prescribed me some antibiotics because she said most commonly with mice it would be a bacterial infection. So she gave me some antibiotics. She was getting 0.1 mil of Baytril twice a day. She was that skinny, that's all she could get. Like, that was it. It was 0.1 of a mil of Baytril morning and evening. And on Monday night, after she had her first dose, I honestly wasn't sure if she was going to survive. She was so hunched over. Her breathing was really heavy, really, really heavy. But she was fine. Well, she wasn't fine, but she pulled through. Tuesday morning, she was still there. I was giving her Baytril. And by probably about Wednesday morning, she was doing fantastic. She was eating. So this was the Wednesday that had just passed, so like a week ago. So she was doing fantastic. She'd started eating. She was drinking. She seemed to really have some energy back. I noticed she was just scarfing food down. Honestly, she was wolfing it down like she'd probably spent about an hour just eating solid. And that was really hopeful for me. I called the vet. I told them she's doing really well. Keep up with the Baytril, etc., etc., etc. So I just kept giving her 2 doses twice a day, and she was doing great until literally like it seems to be the weekend. It's always the weekend with her. I weighed her, I think Thursday or Friday. She'd put some weight on. She was doing great. It was going fantastic. And then I think Saturday evening, I noticed she had kind of a red raw patch on the back of one of her ears. It was this ear. Yeah, on this ear. It was at the back. It wasn't coming out of her ear. It was like behind her ear. At least that's what it looked like to me. And she was just incessantly scratching it. So, you know, I gave it a bit of a wipe with some saline, with salt and water mix and a little cotton bud. Gave it a little tiny wipe. And I mean, it seemed to kind of help. There didn't really seem to be anything there. It just looked like she'd been scratching it a lot. So Sunday, she was still doing great. She was eating, she was drinking, she was doing it fantastically well. But I noticed it was still really red and bloody on her ear. Like, blood had obviously come out of it from scratching it so much. And I was like, this is very strange. This has just happened very suddenly. So again, I wiped it. I thought maybe she's just... I don't know, I just assumed she was being active and maybe she just was overzealously cleaning herself because she had gotten really quite ratty looking the few days previous, obviously because she wasn't eating, drinking or looking after herself. I just thought she was being a bit overzealous with the grooming. But on Monday morning, again, it's like almost in weekly increments, she had so much blood down the side of her face. It had literally dried in a massive clump on the back of her ear, and I thought that was it. Like, I took her again to the vet. I rushed her to the vet again on Monday, so this Monday, so that was it's Thursday today, so that was 3 days, I can't count, 3 days ago. So I rushed her to the vet on Monday, and she had gained 2 grams at that point, so she was 11 grams I think at the vet, which was really good. The vet was really happy. She was like, yeah, this is great, she's doing great, she's gained some weight. But she seemed a lot slower at the vet's, and the vet got a bit cotton and she was wiping the back of her ear. At first, she thought it was a tumour because there seemed to be a lump there, but that was actually just matted fur from how much it had bled overnight. It had sort of matted into a clump. So we washed it all off, had a look. I mean, the vet could not see anything wrong. She said it looked a bit sore from where she'd been scratching, but other than that, she couldn't see anything. She prescribed me some ivermectin, which is like an anti-parasite sort of drug, and she said just if she keeps scratching, just use that in case it is, you know, it's a parasite or something on her. Keep up with the Baytril and everything, and I was really hopeful. Like, she was gaining weight from the antibiotics, I mean, other than the blood, but when I got home after work, I noticed that it just sort of kept bleeding. It was almost like a wound that I couldn't see, and I mean, it didn't look like it was coming out of her ear. Like, her ear was like clean. but it was almost like it was just pouring out of the side of her face. So I wiped it again. I put some pseudo cream on it. The vet advised pseudo cream. I have it anyway for my rabbits and stuff. And for the dogs, my parents' dogs if they need it, not mine. I don't have dogs, unfortunately. But yeah, so she advised to use that a little bit. I put that on, but I mean, she was just getting almost like worse and worse and worse. And I don't know why. I gave her antibiotics. I gave her a tiny bit of ivermectin, and she just didn't recover. I honestly don't know. So I'm gonna start like tearing up. So come Tuesday morning, the day after the vets, I gave her medication in the morning, and she was so wobbly on her feet, and I gave her a bit of honey as well, just to try and help perk her up a bit. I put her food and her water like right next to her, inside her hide, so she wouldn't have to move if that was what she needed. And I came home at lunchtime to keep an eye on her, just to sort of check up on her, and she had passed away in her hide. It kind of just, I don't know, the way she was sitting, it looked like she always went to sleep. I'm not really sure. I can't tell what it was like in her final moments. That's what I'd like to think. Oh, I was going to not cry, trying hard not to. But no, she had passed away by about Tuesday lunchtime. I'm still not sure what was wrong. I spoke to my vet. My vet still wasn't sure what was wrong. She said it was most likely she was sick when I found her. And she just got worse and worse from that point on. Like the lack of weight gain, she said she thought it might have just been something she had already had with her. Which concerns me slightly because I'm worried for my other 2 mice now. So I'm going to take them for a checkup. I'm watching them at the moment, but I'm going to probably be taking them for a checkup on Monday just to be safe. I'm terrified they're going to get like a respiratory infection or something. I'm literally cleaning them out completely like every other day because I'm so terrified it's going to happen. I went out and bought more mesh to put more holes in their DIY home, so you're probably going to see a video on that soon. But yeah, no, I didn't have her very long. I mean, but it happens with pets. Sometimes they get sick and they don't get better. But, you know, when they're in your care, at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. She died in my care, and I can only hope that it wasn't something I did that led to her death. But I felt like it's only fair that I actually sort of documented and explained what happened to you guys. There's no point trying to hide it from you. But yeah, that was unfortunately the ending of Bree's story. She passed away on Tuesday. And I mean, I can hope I gave her a good life in the few months that I had her. I mean, she was one of the reasons I started doing pet videos, because, I don't know, I found her and I thought it would be a good thing to document. And so I thought, why not add it to YouTube? Oh, I'm getting really upset and I'm trying not to cry. Ugly crying face. But anyway, if you got this far in the video, thank you so much for watching and taking the time to watch this. If you have any ideas over what might have happened to her, feel free to let me know. That's probably it. I mean, there's a possible multitude of things. The vet said she's not sure. She said she didn't give any... This video is just going on forever and ever. She didn't give any indications that she had a respiratory infection. She didn't hear crackling, or like she didn't have weepy eyes or any mucus or anything. As she said, she didn't think it was wet tail. It could have been parasites, but the vet didn't think it was parasites. She thought it might have been parasites after the scratching, but I don't know, maybe by then it was too late. Maybe we did a misdiagnosis. I'm not sure. But I am terrified for my other pets right now. Whenever a pet dies, I kind of go over the top and I start obsessing over anything I could have done wrong. I just spent like 50 quid buying a bunch of stuff in the last few days for my bunnies and my other mice. I've got them a nice pen. I'll be doing a video on that soon as well. On good news, there's a big pink pen coming for my 2 other female mice. My nose is running and this is really disgusting. But no, thank you so much for watching this far, if you did watch this far. And I will probably catch you in the next video. I'm really sorry that this happened. I'm sorry to Bree, obviously. I'm sorry that I had to put a sad story on my channel for you guys, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And until then, bye. Sorry, gonna cry everywhere.